What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Waters. Welcome to Life to Metal. Going to be doing a 7-inch vinyl update today. I'm going to also be showing my 7-inch Motorhead collection, and the reason for that is, of the 7-inch singles that I'm going to be showing that are new, 4 of them are Motorhead singles, so I figured I might as well just show the entire thing. So first I'm going to show the 3 that are not Motorhead related, and start off with Faithful Breath. This is a fairly rare single as far as I know. I've never seen it around before. Definitely rare in the US, but it's on the Mausoleum label. You don't see Mausoleum records floating around much, especially Mausoleum 7-inch singles. But it's just straightforward heavy metal. Of course, some of the members of Faithful Breath went on to form the speed metal band Risk after this. But this is just straightforward heavy metal. Really dig this band, Faithful Breath. Next up, American heavy metal band The Rods from their Wild Dogs album. This is the You Keep Me Hanging On single, which of course You Keep Me Hanging On is a cover song, probably my least favorite song on that album. Backed with, I believe, a non-album track. Let's see, Wings of Fire, yeah. So here's the A-side and the B-side of the Rods single. And then finally, this next one is one that I've actually had on my watch list on eBay forever. And it's just, it was like $4 plus another $4 shipping, so it was going to cost like $8. And I'm like, it was just one of those ones I keep watching, and it would keep cycling through. And, you know, eventually I got an offer for $2, so I jumped on it. So $6 total with shipping. But this is the Home Tonight single from AEROSMITH. It is a white label radio promo single with a stereo version and a mono version on each side. So just another to add to my ever-growing, never-ending AEROSMITH collection. Alright, now we're going to get into the Motorhead vinyl. And first I'm going to show you the new ones, then I'll get into the collection. But this is another version of Motorhead and City Kids that I added to my collection. There are a bunch of different versions of this out there. I believe this is a 77 pressing. Obviously a picture disc. Very cool. Just one that I didn't have, so I got it for a good price, jumped on it. This next one I actually already do have. But I got this one inexpensively, and it was different from the one that I already owned. But this is the, you know, one of those ones that was released after Lemmy's death. But this is Motorhead covering Metallica and also the Plasmatics. Now, if I can get the sleeve out of here, that'd be awesome. So you've got, here, let's see if I can put the sleeve back on here. The sleeve is tight on this one. There we go. So there you go. You can see the tracks are Whiplash, Metallica cover, and Master Plan, which is actually recorded live version of the song. And the back has, and the front has pictures of the classic, 70s lineup, power trio lineup of Motorhead with Fast Eddie Clarke and Filthy Phil Taylor and of course Lemmy, who did not play, as far as I know, they didn't play on any of those tracks. But this also is a dedication to Filthy Phil and Lemmy, who had died shortly before this was released. So on the back it's got in memory of Lemmy and Filthy Phil Taylor. So thus the reason that the artwork doesn't picture the actual members that are on it. But if you look closely enough, there's actually, you can see a bunch of the guys from Metallica. And again, it's not even the members that played on that song, because you've got, let's see, who was on there that I... Yeah. Oh, there he is. Robert Trujillo. Sitting over there in the corner. So, obviously, Robert Trujillo didn't play on Kill 'Em All. But regardless, it's still a cool single. And I got it for a great price. And you can see it's got this pink and black center ring. And it's on a yellow gold vinyl. Translucent vinyl. When I get into the collection, you'll see I have a different version of this that it's just completely different than this particular version. You'll see. The songs are the same, but I'll show you when I get to that point. Next up, this is a really cool new single that I picked up recently. This says Iron Horse, Born to Lose, recorded live at the Roundhouse 78 on the A side. The B side is Lemmy doing Twist and Shout. So not necessarily a Motorhead song, although I would argue that Lemmy was Motorhead, so regardless. But you got Lemmy playing bass and singing, and then you've got Scott Ian on guitar, and then Greg Bissonette on drums. Greg Bissonette, known for his, he's been in many bands, but he, was in David Lee Roth's band after David Lee Roth left Van Halen back in the 80s. So it's a really nice pressing too. It's in this nice thick sleeve. It's got a fake leather cover, like it's got a, I don't know if I'll be able to show it or not. Let me see if I can get it out of the sleeve here. It's got a texture to it that kind of gives it the appearance and the feel of leather. But it's actually paper. It's not actually leather. It's got a silver foil stamped logo, as you can see. Nice black and white artwork. It is it's got a black inner sleeve. There are several different colored versions of this available. Mine happens to be the blue version. I don't know if there's one more rare than others. Don't really care. Color vinyl is not a big deal to me, especially when it's the exact same pressing and all it is just somebody throwing a different color plastic onto the press. And there's also an advertisement inner sleeve inside this thing that's just selling other Motorhead products. So I can only assume that this is an official release. I mean, I don't know for sure, but it's really nice, and someone put some money into this thing. So, all right, next up, this is one I pre-ordered. Little expensive, I thought, for even pre-ordering it. It was like $15. But this is live in Athens, 1988. So apparently, when the No Sleep at All came out in '88 in Greece, there was a 7-inch single that came with it as a bonus, which featured the tracks Orgasmatron and Acropolis. Now, Acropolis is renamed. It's Metropolis with a new name, Acropolis, which Lemmy renamed at that show for the Grease fans, who he called a bunch of diehards, and I'm sure they were. But in any case, this is a repressing of that 7-inch single that was in that No Sleep at All single. So 2 live tracks from I believe '88, recorded live in Greece. This one is still available. You can get this one fairly, I shouldn't say cheap, you can get it fairly easily on eBay and Amazon and whatnot. So now we're going to get into the collection. Starting off, I don't have the very first one, the Motorhead England single yet. It's on my want list. But this is the Motorhead 7-inch with back to City Kids. This is a big beat pressing of that single on blue vinyl. So Motorhead and City Kids, just like the picture disc I showed you earlier. There are, again, several different versions, several different pressings from different years. They're all pretty much have the same cover and different colors of vinyl and whatnot. And then, as well, this is another pressing of Motorhead and Over the Top, as opposed to City Kids. And I believe this was a early '80s, like 1980 or '81 pressing of that particular song single. This is the Bomber single on the classic bronze label. This is, I believe, a UK pressing. That's the back of the sleeve with Over the Top on the B side. This is the Overkill single. Proto thrash metal, in my opinion. This is, a double bass driven, fast, heavy track that inspired the likes of Metallica and Exodus, and even bands like Exciter and all those other bands who went on to do that kind of speed metal thrash sound in the 80s. But this being 77 or so. And fantastic single, backed with Too Late, Too Late. And there's a cool picture of the band on the back. Let me show you that. Again, on the bronze record label. Next up, the classic Ace of Spades single from 1980, backed with Dirty Love. Dirty Love being a non-album track that has been since released as bonus tracks on a bazillion different CDs and compilations. And while I'm at it, I'll show you this one as well. This is the recently released shaped picture disc of Ace of Spades. Again, I'm only showing 7-inch singles here, but this one kind of, I don't know, this one's somewhere in between, I guess. It's not 12-inch, that's for sure. It's maybe a 10-inch. And I have other Motorhead 10-inch singles too, and I'm not showing those, but that one kind of fits, as does this one. This is the Killed by Death 7-inch single. This one was a gift from a good friend of mine, Blackmore Rules, on the VC. So Killed by Death, backed with Under the Knife. And this here was when Motorhead went from being a power trio to a 4-piece band. All right, back to the 70s. This is 1979 or so. The LOUIE single, backed with Tear Ya Down. band. If I get it back in the sleeve, that'd be awesome. All right, this is a reissue. This is, well, not a reissue, but this is a single that Big Beat put out when Motorhead were gaining speed and popularity in the 80s. So this is the Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers 7-inch EP. So this features Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers, On Parole, Instro, and I'm Your Witch Doctor. These 4 tracks were recorded at Escape Studios in May of 1977 at the same sessions that produced the first Motorhead album and single. So yeah, this was released, I mean, this is all stuff from the first album. However, it was released, of course, in 1980, I believe it was 1980, when Motorhead were experiencing, especially in the UK, a huge bit of popularity. This is a classic EP as well. This is the Golden Years Live EP. You know, again featuring the classic power trio with Filthy Phil and Fast Eddie Clarke on the bronze label. This is one I've had in my collection for decades. It's a classic album. I mean, I had it when I was a kid. One of my first Motorhead singles I had picked up because they were pretty much everywhere back in the early 80s. You could pick this stuff up. And I gotta admit, I became a Motorhead fan around 1980. I wasn't a fan in the 70s, not because I didn't like them, because I didn't know them. I was a kid. And in the 70s, I was in bands like Ted Nugent and AEROSMITH and Kiss and Black Sabbath and Blue Oyster Cult. And being from the U.S., those were the bands that I knew. But as I got older and started expanding and going to record stores and exploring, I found Motorhead. And actually, a friend of mine found a review in a magazine. I think it might have been Cream magazine, but it could have been Circus or Hit Parade or one of those magazines, where basically called Motorhead the worst band ever. So of course we had to hear that, and that's how we ended up picking up Motorhead and becoming Motorhead fans. So, all right, next up, one of several singles that were released for the Girl School / Motorhead collaboration. I have the 10-inch single of this as well. I'm missing the other 7-inch single. I'd like to find it one of these days, but you've basically got two Girl School songs with both bands playing on it together. So you've got Please Don't Touch and Emergency, and with both bands playing together on it. And then you've got a version of Motorhead's Bomber that Girl School recorded. So cool EP. Again, I wish I had the other one. I just don't have them both. One of these days, I'm always on the lookout. This was a gift from a good friend of mine who actually lives in the UK. His name is Steve, who does VC videos as well. Thank you, Steve. This is the Iron Fist 7-inch single. I believe this is red vinyl. This is a original pressing. The original pressing was on red or black vinyl. This is the UK tour edition with the dates on the back, as you can see. And this is backed with Remember Me, I'm Gone. Again on the bronze label. Motorhead, Iron Fist. And I love that song. I have loved it since it was one of the earliest songs I had heard. Like I said, it was, right around this time that I discovered the band. And so I like that song so much. My own band, Ultimatum, we recorded a cover of that song back in 2009 or 10 or so, and it ended up on our Lex Metallis record as a tribute to Motorhead. All right, now we're back to the 4-piece band. This is the Deaf Forever. I don't have any of the Robbo 7-inch singles. I have the 12-inch singles. Don't have the 7-inch singles yet. So those are in my keeping out, looking for list. But anyhow, Deaf Forever. This is on the GWR label with On the Road Live as the B-side. This one is also available on a 12-inch single with 2 live tracks on the B-side, which I also have. Same lineup here. This one actually has a cool picture of the band, so I'll show you that in a second. But this is Eat the Rich, backed with Cradle in the Grave. And there you can see that band is a 4-piece there. This was when Filthy Phil Taylor was back in the band for a short spell. I actually got to see him on that tour with Filthy Phil. Walked into a club called the Penny Arcade in Rochester, New York, and when they were playing at that show, and it was Raven and Motorhead, and they handed us buttons as we walked into the club that said "Animals Back, Animals Back, Animals Back." So I wish I still had that button. I actually had it on my vest for years and lost it at a show. So regardless, Motorhead, Eat the Rich, GWR. And of these 4 members, there's only one still alive. This here is Wurzel, and Wurzel passed away several years ago as well. So, yeah, sad. Those guys lived hard lives, man. They toured hard, they partied hard, they worked hard, and eventually that's going to take a toll on you, which is life, I guess. All right, this is the One Sing the Blues single. This is a UK pressing for that on Epic Records, their first major label deal in worldwide. Backed with Dead Man's Hand. I've had this one forever. It just doesn't pop up very often. I don't ever see this thing. It looks like a white label promo, but I believe it was just they just had white labels on all the versions of it, as far as I know. Alright, now we're getting into much newer stuff. Most of this stuff being released after Lemmy's death. This is the Heroes single. This is a Record Store Day single. This thing sold out quickly on Record Store Day. I believe this is one of the years I went to Record Store Day out in California. Looked for it. We never even saw a copy. They disappeared quickly, and the price jumped 30, 40, 50 bucks with resellers, and I was never going to pay that. Thankfully, I finally was hooked up with a copy at a fair price. But even that fair price, I thought was a little expensive. But that's the selling price for this single on Record Store Day was 20 bucks. This is also a Record Store Day release. This was a Motorhead single that was released kind of as a tribute to the Ramones. So on the A side, you have their cover of Rockaway Beach, Rockaway Beach, great song. And on the B side, you have a live, I believe it's a live version. Yeah, live at Wacken, live version of RAMONES, which was Lemmy's tribute to the Ramones. Lemmy having always been a very vocal fan of the Ramones. Here's the back. So this is an official single. However, it is, after Lemmy had passed away, so it was, not released before the demise of Motorhead. This is cool. This is another release that was released on Record Store Day. I don't know if it was Record Store Day exclusive or not, but it is a anniversary. So it's a 40th anniversary double 7-inch picture disc celebration of the loudest, dirtiest bastard rock and roll of 1979, Motorhead, Overkill, and Bomber. So it is a very cool picture disc release. I've only played it once, but I did pop the plastic off of it, which I still have on it, as you can see, because it's got that cool little hype sticker on there. But it is there you go, gatefold sleeve, and as you can see, it's got 2 picture discs in there for Bomber and Overkill. Very nice collection. Very cool collectible Motorhead single. All right, next up, this one was given to me by another friend who lives in Austria. A good friend of mine named Ben. Ben used to do VC videos. He doesn't do them anymore. But usually when I get a note with the thing, I'll keep the note inside of it. So this is a note that's inside of it. Came with German Heavy Hammer magazine. And I says, I had to think of you when I saw this, and I'm glad he did, because I am a huge Motorhead fan. So this is the Overkill Live and Bomber Live 7-inch single. Overkill being recorded live in 1981 in France, and Bomber being recorded in 1996 in Germany. And you can see the Metal Hammer logo sitting right there. So really cool single. Glad to have it. This is that one I showed you earlier, and it's just a different version of it. I don't know if it's a misprint. I just don't know. But this is the Metallica Plasmatics single from a few years ago. Cover is identical to the one that I showed earlier. Difference being that there's nothing printed on the center ring. Now, I don't know if there's more like this, or this is just a mistake pressing, or I don't know. Regardless, so it's got no printing on the center ring, and unlike the colored version I have over there, this is a black version. Although it's kind of has, as I'm seeing it now, it's kind of a, I don't know, maybe you can see it on the screen or not, but it's kind of black and blue mix. It kind of has this marble, so there is kind of a translucent to it. But yeah, it's just a different version of it that I picked up a long time ago when it first came out, and I've never seen another one that like it since. If anybody out there are Motorhead collectors and you have this, I'm curious if anybody else has this particular version of it with no printing on the center ring. Okay, this is cool. This is most likely a bootleg. It was floating around quite a bit years ago. I haven't seen it again in a while, but this is the blue version. I actually had a blue version and a red version for a while. I traded off the red version. Sorry, I traded off the blue version. Kept the red one. Just didn't feel the need to have 2 of them, I guess, or somebody offered me something that I really wanted. But this is number 3 of 300. of the Overkill exclusive version. Basically, it's a re-recorded studio version of Overkill with Mickey D and Phil Campbell on guitar. And the B-side is a cover of Queen's "Turn Your Mother Down," "Tie Your Mother Down," "Turn Your Mother Down," "Tie Your Mother Down," and it is, again, not a Motorhead song. Although, again, I always argue that Lemmy is Motorhead, but it's Lemmy on bass and vocals with Ted Nugent on guitar. Really cool version of that song. Really enjoyed it. So, if you can find this one, it's a cool single to pick up. And then finally, the last one in my collection. This is Plasmatics with Motorhead. I don't have a huge Plasmatics collection, so I keep this with my Motorhead collection. Got both bands' logos on it, so why not? So you've got side A is Plasmatics with Motorhead doing "Stand By Your Man" and "No Class," recorded in Canada in 1982. And then the B-side is Motorhead live with Wendy Williams singing "No Class," recorded live in 1983 in England. So that's what you got going on there. There are other versions of the Wendy Williams singles that they did with Motorhead. I don't have those. I only have this one, which I can only assume is a bootleg. To me, it looks like the same company that printed up that Metallica Plasmatics single that I showed earlier. It's got the same look on the center ring and, of course, the cover art. Regardless, it's Motorhead, so therefore it is worthy of being in my collection. And that is it. That is my Motorhead collection, 7-inch vinyl collection, and my 7-inch vinyl update. So appreciate you all watching. Leave a message below. Let me know what you got. I'm always wanting to see other people's collections too. So appreciate you. God bless. Stay strong.